A multi-billion-dollar corporate merger can hinge on a single sentence buried in a dusty 50-page vendor agreement. For decades, the pace of global capital has been artificially throttled by the biological limits of human reading speed. During major mergers and acquisitions, elite legal teams are forced into windowless rooms, tasked with manually hunting for hidden liabilities across thousands of complex legal agreements. It is a high-stakes scavenger hunt where fatigue is inevitable and a single oversight can derail an entire transaction. The core bottleneck in this traditional process is the overwhelming volume of unstructured data. Modern enterprises generate a staggering paper trail of vendor contracts, employment agreements, and intellectual property licenses. None of this information is neatly organized in a database. It exists as dense, idiosyncratic text, formatted differently by every counterparty. Extracting meaningful risk metrics from this chaotic ocean of legal jargon has historically required armies of junior lawyers, billing hundreds of hours just to organize the chaos. This manual approach to legal due diligence is fundamentally broken. It relies on extreme human endurance, pushing professionals towards severe burnout, while simultaneously increasing the probability of catastrophic human error. When a tired associate is reviewing their 400th contract at 3 a.m, the likelihood of missing a critical change of control provision skyrockets. The legal industry built an entire economic model around this inefficiency, treating administrative data entry as a necessary billable evil. Consequently, the timeline for completing due diligence often stretches into weeks or even months. This delay introduces significant friction into capital markets, leaving deals vulnerable to shifting macroeconomic conditions or competitor intervention. The sheer cost and time required to manually audit every contract forces firms to rely on random sampling rather than comprehensive review. They accept a baseline level of unknown risk simply because reading every document is economically and physically impossible. The intelligence revolution has engineered a direct solution to this structural failure through the deployment of specialized large language models. These are not generic consumer chatbots designed to write emails or generate poetry. Instead, they are highly calibrated systems fine-tuned on vast repositories of legal corpora. By mapping the intricate syntax of contract law into a high-dimensional latent space, these models develop a profound semantic understanding of legal obligations, liabilities, and regulatory constraints. When deployed against a target company's data room, the LLM analysis completely bypasses the limitations of traditional keyword searches. A legacy software tool might look for the exact phrase termination for convenience, failing if the drafter used slightly different wording. Modern AI understands the underlying concept. It utilizes zero-shot inference to accurately identify and extract high-risk clauses, regardless of how uniquely the original lawyer chose to phrase the contractual language. The immediate outcome of this technological pivot is a staggering compression of time. Firms that have integrated AI into their due diligence workflows have reduced preliminary document assessment from several weeks to a matter of hours. A portfolio of 50,000 contracts can be ingested, analyzed, and categorized over a single weekend. The AI systematically flags anomalous liability caps, identifies non-standard indemnification clauses, and aggregates this unstructured data into a clean, actionable dashboard. By automating this preliminary review stage, the fundamental role of the corporate lawyer is transformed. Legal teams are no longer highly paid data entry clerks forced to scan pages for missing signatures or standard boilerplate text. The AI handles the exhaustive extraction, allowing human experts to immediately focus on strategic negotiation and complex risk mitigation. The machine finds the needle, and the lawyer decides what to do with it. This capability extends far beyond the isolated events of mergers and acquisitions. fundamentally altering how corporations manage continuous regulatory compliance. Global regulations are in a constant state of flux, with new privacy laws, environmental standards, and labor regulations emerging across different jurisdictions weekly. Maintaining compliance historically required massive internal audits, manually cross-referencing existing contracts against newly published government mandates to identify exposure. The sheer velocity of regulatory change makes manual audits dangerously obsolete. A multinational corporation might have tens of thousands of active vendor agreements that suddenly need to be updated to comply with the new data protection directive. Relying on human labor to locate, review, and amend these contracts guarantees that the company will remain out of compliance for months, exposing them to massive financial penalties and severe reputational damage. AI automates this continuous audit process, operating as an always-on digital sentinel. When a new regulation is passed, the legal team can prompt the system to instantly sweep the entire corporate database. The model evaluates every active contract against the new regulatory framework, instantly isolating the specific agreements that require amendment. It transforms a sprawling, multi-month compliance crisis into a targeted afternoon workflow. This shift represents a massive reduction in corporate risk. By eliminating the blind spots inherent in random sampling, companies achieve total visibility into their contractual obligations. The AI does not get tired, it does not get distracted, and it processes the 10,000th document with the exact same rigorous precision as the first. It provides a level of comprehensive oversight that is biologically impossible for any human legal department to match. To achieve this level of reliability, the legal industry had to solve the critical issue of model hallucination. An AI that confidently invents a fictitious legal precedent is worse than useless in a corporate audit. The solution lies in retrieval augmented generation, a technique that forces the language model to ground its analysis strictly within the provided contract documents. The AI is restricted from improvising, ensuring that every extracted clause is directly linked to a verifiable source text. This architecture creates a closed-loop system of verifiable truth. When the AI flags a problematic liability cap, it provides the exact paragraph, page number, and document name for human verification. The model acts as an ultra-fast paralegal, performing the heavy lifting of unstructured data processing while maintaining a strict chain of evidence. The human lawyer retains ultimate authority, reviewing the AI's explicit citations rather than blindly trusting a black box output. This dynamic dismantles the persistent myth that AI will entirely replace legal professionals. The technology is not practicing law. It is reading and organizing text at a superhuman scale. The subjective judgment required to negotiate a settlement, assess the business impact of a regulatory fine, or advise a chief executive officer on a merger remains strictly human. AI simply clears away the administrative debris that has historically consumed the majority of a lawyer's time. However, this efficiency forces a brutal reckoning for the traditional business models of major law firms. For over a century, the industry has relied on the billable hour, generating massive revenue by throwing armies of junior associates at slow, manual contract reviews. As AI automates this specific workflow, the economic incentive to bill for inefficiency collapses. Clients now expect fixed fee structures for due diligence, demanding that firms leverage technology to deliver faster, cheaper results. Forward-thinking legal departments are already capitalizing on this structural shift. In a recent corporate restructuring, a mid-sized legal team utilized specialized AI to audit over 100,000 active agreements in under 48 hours. They identified millions of dollars in uncollected revenue tied to forgotten inflation adjustment clauses. This was not a defensive compliance exercise. It was an aggressive, value creation strategy made possible entirely by the speed of automated analysis. The technology is now advancing from passive review toward proactive, predictive drafting. By analyzing thousands of successful past negotiations, AI systems can now suggest highly optimized contract language during the drafting phase. If a counterparty insists on a specific non-compete clause, the system instantly surfaces historical data showing how similar clauses were successfully modified in previous deals. It arms the negotiating team with real-time, data-driven intelligence at the bargaining table. We are witnessing the establishment of a new baseline for corporate operations. In the near future, attempting to execute a merger or conduct a regulatory audit without AI assistance will be viewed as professional malpractice. The gap between firms that embrace automated analysis and those that cling to manual review is widening into an unbridgeable chasm. Speed and comprehensive accuracy are no longer premium services. They are the fundamental requirements of modern business. This accelerates the pace of global commerce itself. When the legal friction is removed from capital deployment, mergers and acquisitions can be executed with unprecedented velocity. Corporations can adapt to shifting regulatory environments instantly, pivoting their strategies without being anchored by a backlog of unread contracts. The legal department transitions from being the ultimate corporate bottleneck to becoming a highly agile facilitator of growth. Furthermore, this technology democratizes top-tier legal capabilities. Mid-market companies, previously unable to afford the exorbitant fees of multinational law firms, can now deploy AI to achieve the same level of rigorous due diligence. A small, agile legal team equipped with a fine-tuned legal LLM can effectively punch far above its weight class, auditing complex agreements and ensuring regulatory compliance with the thoroughness of a massive corporate enterprise. Ultimately, the automation of contract review is about reclaiming human potential. By offloading the grueling, error-prone task of reading endless pages of unstructured data to a machine, we elevate the legal profession. We stop treating highly educated professionals like biological hard drives. The intelligence revolution in law eliminates the noise, allowing human experts to focus entirely on the strategy, judgment, and high-stakes decision-making that actually drives the future of business.